have none, however, I do have a title. Andre Simino, Don't Be Afraid of Sharks in the Ocean. Don't be afraid of sharks in the ocean. Andre Simino.
You were all kids once. And you shouldn't be afraid of sharks in the ocean. Statistically, every time we go to the beach, how many people really get eaten, bitten, and chopped by a shark and taken away in an ambulance? It just about never happens. Fellow Toastmasters, guest, my name is Andre. And it's a lie! You should be afraid of sharks! After all, a first world problem here in America is that damn movie Jaws! I saw it when I was 10. And since that day, I can't swim in a black bottom pool. I can't go in an ocean without keeping my feet off of the bottom and having a floaty. I can't go anywhere where I can't see through the water because I don't see the fin and there's no crazy people running out there getting eaten by sharks. But my brain remembers Jaws. And every time I see the ocean, dun-dun, 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 and it scares me. I was recently in Oahu. The ocean, you can see out there. I'm up in the 9th floor looking down, and it's great. I can see the bottom, it's clear, it's blue, and then over here there's this black spot. And over here there's this black spot. And over here there's this black spot. I'm like, what is the black spot? Why can't I see the bottom? And yet in this area over here, it's just crystal clear. You can see it's green, it's sparkly. I'm like, ooh, I can't wait, it looks like a pool. So we swim in the pool earlier. We go out to the ocean. And I don't like the, hey, let's just get in the water and test our toes. I'm one of those, when I run back and I just get a running start and I dive in. And I go swimming out there and I'm swimming in the ocean. And I'm 42, I've overcome the fear of sharks. So I think. We're swimming, we grab a floaty. Somehow we both manage to get on this floaty and we're floating around in the water. And all of a sudden, and in the back of my head, I'm like, don't let your feet touch the bottom. I'm always scanning for the dorsal fin. I know that there's a reef out here and a reef out there, but there's this one little spot where the boat's coming in and out. I'm always got an eye over there going, do I see anything coming in? Is there any activity of people yelling and screaming because they're getting eaten by a shark? It's a lie. You have to be afraid of sharks. So we're floating, we're floating, we're floating, and all of a sudden, we're floating, ah! And I just about dumped us off this floaty thing because we bumped into the rock. That black stuff was just a little bit of coral and it was just a little bit of rock. And I managed to bump up against it. And oh my gosh, did Mara laugh? She started crying because I was scared out of my skin. What did I just bump? What is it? Is it a shark? My heart's like, I'm having to calm down. I'm having to talk myself off the cliff. There's no dorsal fin. Yeah. It's not a shark. So we keep floating around. And of course, I don't tell Mara this, but I'm like paddling us, kicking under the water to get to that green spot again, where that black part isn't, because I don't want to hit the bottom again. And I'm looking over there, and I'm like, oh, we're a little too close to that break in the water. I paddle us back away from there. First world problems. Who decided to make this damn movie Jaws? More importantly, why did my dad let me see it at 10? We used to swim when I was a kid. I was 12, 13. We'd go to Cabrillo Beach in Southern California. And I loved it. My dad would take us out in the ocean and the waves would be waving and we'd be on a boogie board and he'd put me and my brother or my brother on a boogie board. He would wait for the wave to whoosh, and he would just push us, right? And so we'd get to boogie boarding on the wave before I learned how to boogie board. I remember thinking, well, my dad's a lot bigger than me. The shark's obviously going to eat him and not me. And so as a kid, I can remember back to being 10 and 11 and 12 being afraid of sharks. But always thinking to myself, no big deal. We'll go to the ocean and my dad will get eaten. Not me. So we'd be out there, and I don't know how my dad, I remember it being 20 feet deep, but it must have only been 5 or 6 feet, because my dad's head was always above the water, standing on the bottom, pushing my brother and I in. And I remember being on the boogie board and holding it up, and I managed to hold my feet up out of the water when I was on the boogie board, so that there was no dangling, wormy-looking thing to a shark for the shark to eat Andre. Or I figured, hey, it's my younger brother. You know, it's all right. You got one, I got 5 more at home. If they eat him, it's no big deal. Gang, be afraid of sharks. Or don't be afraid of sharks. I purposely titled it, Don't Be Afraid of Sharks in the Ocean, because I didn't want to program y'all that you should be afraid of sharks and project my fear of sharks onto y'all. But it's the darndest thing. Sharks. You don't have to be afraid of them in the ocean. But if you are, I do have a consultative service. I will teach you all the little tricks about swimming in a black bottom pool, which I now do. Swimming in a lake where you can never see the bottom, but at least it's freshwater. There's no sharks in a lake. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I was about 3/4 expecting that to be a metaphor. Can we have a minute on the clock, please? Please make your comments, pass them over to Andre.